Hello.
Hi there.
Another week.
Another week goes by.
More movies.
We had a good week.
I think so. How'd you like this week's
We had
crop
some-
of film?
We had some variety. I liked it. I'm going to need a refresher on all the titles that we watched, but I loved them all.
I don't think you loved them all because we're going to start with our new releases. And the first new release we watched this week was F1.
Oh, yes, let's get the hate out of the way. This movie, first of all, was way too long.
It was way too long. Again, it was almost 3 hours. And I'm going to say it again. I don't see female directors making egregiously long movies like this.
True.
It felt like a circle jerk, and it felt like wish fulfillment.
This was Brad Pitt's Top Gun, I think, is
It
what they were
was.
going for.
And this is the director of Top Gun Maverick.
Well, there you go. Okay.
I think last time I thought that was the director of Mission Impossible. It is not.
It is not. Okay.
It's this guy, Joseph Kosinski.
I was just getting the impression from this movie that Brad Pitt was trying to be Tom Cruise so badly, it was almost coming off as cheesy.
I just hate looking at Brad Pitt's face.
And he is in a lot of this movie where I feel like they could have cut down some of his scenes and left some other people's scenes in to make it a better experience.
I agree. Like, why are we still hiring this man? He's a monster.
Good question. Hey, if you want to see some cars drive and go fast, this is your movie. There's little else going on, I think.
But I do agree with you. It seems like a lot of Damson Idris's character's story was cut. I can't imagine how long the original cut of this movie was.
Oh, this was originally definitely like a 4-hour plus movie.
Oh, for sure. It just seems like everything they shot for Brad Pitt, they kept in. But then they cut all of Damson Idris's, like, love interest. That actress is very popular. She's on Bridgerton. I haven't seen Bridgerton, but I've seen her around.
Okay.
She did press for this movie and everything, and then they just cut her.
See, that's terrible.
I noticed her in 2 seconds of the movie, and that was it.
She was contractually obligated to show up in its one scene, and that they didn't leave anything else in.
She walked by the camera and blew a kiss at it. It was like they were showing who was attending this race.
Did they say why they cut her scenes out?
I think it was just for time.
Just for time. Okay.
The director said she did a great job and he'd want to work with her again. Her name's Simone Ashley. But I guess everything that had to do with her character just had nothing to do with Brad Pitt, so we
Okay.
have to cut it.
I suppose I don't mind that movie being shorter, but I would have loved a little bit more layering to this plot, because overall this plot to me seems very shallow.
It is. It's really just a lot of technical stuff.
It is. Yeah, the movie looks great. It's
Oh, yeah.
shot very well. The cars are cool and go very fast, and that's just so impressive seeing all these guys loving their cars.
I'm sure all the middle-aged dads had a great time going to the IMAX and watching all the car races, which, good for them. You know, everything has a target demographic, and I don't think I'm part of this one, but I just thought all of the characters who were actually interesting, like Damson Idris, like Carrie Condon, even like Tobias Menzies, who was supposed to be the villain, I guess.
They weren't very clear on that. I think so.
If anyone was a villain, it was him. And
It was Brad Pitt. He was violent
That's
in this
true.
movie, which I guess
Well,
he's just sticking to
what
he's
he
just playing
knows.
himself. Yeah, sticking to what he knows. My only takeaway from this movie was this race car driver should have been at least fired, if not arrested, very early on for all the shit he starts pulling.
He did so many horrifically dangerous things. He didn't listen. I don't think this man would have lasted more than one race in real life.
No.
Because you're right, he would get fired.
Oh, also, Javier was wasted in this movie as well.
Javier Bardem was so wasted in this movie.
He was just enabling Brad Pitt's awful behavior, and I think he could have done more.
He finally fired him at the end, but then Brad Pitt came back and said, nope, gotta win the trophy.
I know. It was a almost kind of a cliche sort of, or very predictable plot, I suppose. It didn't do much for me.
I agree. Yeah, it didn't feel like there was much of a plot at all beyond Brad Pitt's racing again and he's kind of a rebel.
Right, right.
And also, we hate the millennials and Gen Z.
Yes, there was a lot of age discrimination in this movie.
I agree. I feel like,
There was a lot of old men yelling at clouds
yes,
going on.
absolutely. And it seemed like the character Joshua, who's played by Damson Idris, was supposed to have this arc where maybe he was partying too much and getting too involved in the, famous person lifestyle. But again, I feel like most of that got cut because he just had one random scene towards the end of the movie where he was rejecting all of that.
See, that would have been actually interesting to see because for the most part, it's just him racing and butting heads with Brad Pitt. I don't even remember what Brad Pitt's character's name was.
Sunny Hayes.
Well, suffice to say, I did not like this movie. I found it pretty boring, and the story was just kind of not there for me. How did people like this movie? Did this movie do numbers?
Oh, this movie did very well in the theaters. And it's probably going to get nominated for at least some like visual effects, sound Oscars, which I won't say that would be unwarranted.
That's fair. I could see that happening, sure.
If it gets nominated for Best Picture, though, I call bullshit.
Absolutely. Best actor, Brad Pitt. It's his year.
I mean, he won an Oscar, Best Supporting Actor,
What did he win an Oscar for?
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which that was category fraud because he was not a supporting character in that, he was a lead character.
He was absolutely a lead in that. That movie just... We have not yet felt the ending effects of that movie. It's caused so many ripples.
David Fincher is working on a sequel movie around Brad Pitt's character, so
God help us.
it's coming back. As far as Rotten Tomatoes goes, this has a certified fresh 82%.
82, that's way too high. I
Much
would give
too high.
this maybe a 40.
I think based on technical merits, 55 to 60. But I really think I would have enjoyed this movie more if Damson Idris had been the main character.
I almost forgot the one gal from Banshees of Inisherin was in there, and which was the random love interest for Brad Pitt. And the only thing she really had to do was showing that she was compromising her principles to sleep with a coworker.
Yeah, because Brad Pitt needs a love interest.
The whole movie's just he races so good and he's so hot. The movie.
Yeah, I just didn't like this. I don't like the wish fulfillment for Brad Pitt. His face makes me uncomfortable because I think he's a monster.
Not to sound too mean, but what has he done to his head? It's huge.
I think he was doing some roids.
He's got some
Allegedly.
roid. Yeah, he's got some alleged roid bloat going on.
Okay, so our next movie was Roofman.
Channing Tatum, star of our show.
I think he was good in this.
I would agree. He gave a good performance. He still has his kind of Magic Mike charm for this movie. He strikes me as a pretty comedic actor. a lot of times, and I think there's some lighthearted moments in this movie, but he didn't have the huge muscles that he's accustomed to seeing, so he actually looked like a normal human being.
Yeah, he didn't look like the Magic Mike again, roided up
Just
vibe.
unnatural looking. Yes, it was funny seeing him looking like a normal person.
Yeah, a normal person who was still quite muscular. He definitely goes to the gym.
And we had Kirsten Dunst in this, giving one hell of a performance, I would say.
Oh, yeah, she was great. She was just nominated for Best Supporting Performance at the Independent Spirit Awards.
Okay, well
And
deserved.
yeah, I think that's very well deserved. Kirsten Dunst, I love the roles that she decides to take on.
Sure.
She does these roles of very just normal people, but there's still something so magnetic and emotionally rich to all of her performances.
I agree.
And her presence on camera. And I just love watching her, anything she's in.
I agree. I wish we had some more time with Peter Dinklage in this movie. He was really well casted as like the Toys R Us manager, I think he was,
Yeah.
in the store, and he really nailed that role. It's just he didn't have much to do other than some. He didn't have much to do in this movie.
Yeah, his whole role seemed very comedic. There's the scene where he sees Channing Tatum after he's finished bathing and he's just freaking out because there's this naked man running around his store.
That was really funny.
I do think it's interesting that this is based on a true story.
I agree. I think they kept to the facts somewhat. This I had to do some research on this story, and because I didn't believe a lot of the points that they were going over.
And a lot of it was
Seemed to be
factual.
true, yeah.
Yeah, during the end credits, it seemed like they were interviewing people around this guy. Like they interviewed Lee, who Kirsten Dunst played,
Yes,
and
the real woman.
people who he robbed.
They all were talking about how nice he was. He was the polite robber, I believe,
Yeah.
something like that.
They also all talked about how he was essentially the stupidest smart person they'd ever met. And that tracks.
It does seem like it. Now, spoiler: he ain't ever getting out of jail.
No, he tried to escape 2 more times.
Wood can just not stay still. Well, I liked this movie. It was fun. It was comedic. You had your emotional highs and lows. It told a good story based off a really interesting true story, and I think
Showed how the government doesn't properly care for its veterans.
that's really the lesson here. I think.
Yeah, if this man had maybe been given a little career help, something.
Yeah, put that brain to good use.
Yeah.
They were right. The smartest dumb person in the room was a really apt description for him.
I also really liked Lakeith Stanfield in this.
Was that his friend that was doing like making fake passports and stuff? Seemed
Yeah.
to be, I don't know, dealing on the black market or something like that. He was trying to smuggle Channing out of the country at the end there.
Yeah, and his girlfriend Juno Temple and their little dogs.
Very adorable. We always love seeing Juno, but again, why was this actor in this movie? Why do you see these kind of big name actors or well known actors, but they've got very small scenes in
I
movies
would-
like this?
I would imagine that's due to connections.
That's fair. That's fair.
I believe this director is an Oscar nominee, so
Okay.
who doesn't want to work with an Oscar nominee?
See, I'm always like, if you're gonna have them there, you gotta use them in the movie.
I get that. I guess also a little scene probably doesn't take too long to film.
That's true.
So, especially if their friend knows someone or they have some connection here, it's like, yeah, I'll go work on this project for a day or two.
Sure. I get it. How did the crowd like Roofman? I'm hoping it did better than F1.
Roofman did slightly better than F1 because
Okay.
wasn't F1 like 85%?
Something like that, 82.
Roofman is a certified fresh 87%.
All right, I'd say that's a pretty fair score.
I
like this
agree.
movie.
I agree. I liked this movie as well. I always like seeing Channing Tatum get to like flex his acting muscle. In a lot of things I've seen him in, I feel like he's just there to be hot.
Sure, or just kind of playing himself, which he sort of is in this movie, but it works actually.
Yeah. His best performance still Foxcatcher.
I need to see
So good
that.
in that.
Need to watch that. But yeah, I like this movie. It was fun seeing a Toys R Us again. I would definitely went there a lot as a kid, and I think they had like Blockbuster and some other businesses that were places that were around in that time. It was fun.
Yeah. I still don't know why he decided to take so much inventory from that Toys R Us. Like, dude, you're gonna get caught.
They would definitely notice after a while. Yeah.
If you're giving all of these gifts to your girlfriend and her family, and then she works at the Toys R Us, and they say, hey, we're missing this, 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 and this, is she not gonna put two and two together?
That's
Like,
true.
come on now.
That's true, because she absolutely heard about that at work.
This probably won't get anywhere at the Oscars, but that Independent Spirit nomination, very well deserved.
Yeah, I would say if you're looking for a good movie to watch on the weekend, something like that, this is worth the hype.
Absolutely. Worth the hype. F1, not worth the
Not
hype.
worth it. You can just Google race cars. You're going to have a better time.
Just Google race cars.
Just as simple as that, and it's going to have more content than this movie had.
So our last new release that we watched this week was Wake Up Dead Man, a Knives Out mystery. And this one was my favorite Knives Out so far.
I never saw the second one. The second one is Glass Onion, right?
Glass Onion, yes. Glass Onion's very good. This is one of the few franchises where I feel like every movie has been better than the last one.
Okay.
And they're all very good.
I still think I like the original, the first movie, Knives Out, the most, but this was a fun ride. I like the plot. All the actors were doing a great job in this. I like the kind of setting, like you have the church setting in this sort of like small town feel, like it's a close knit community kind of being portrayed. So you really get to know the cast of characters here. I really appreciated that.
Absolutely. They keep the ensemble a manageable size.
Yes, yes.
And it's all very recognizable, very interesting actors. I think my favorite of the churchgoers who didn't have as much to do, was Kerry Washington.
She was funny.
She was great in this. Big standout for me.
Agreed. I really think Josh O'Connor gave a very strong performance. Do you think he's going to get any nominations for this movie?
Unfortunately, I don't think this movie is going to do super well at the Oscars. None of the Knives Out movies really do, aside from maybe a screenplay nomination.
Okay.
But he would absolutely deserve it. He has been killing it these past few years.
These movies are popular, yeah.
I was really upset he didn't get nominated for Challengers last year. Of course, he did campaign under supporting actor, and that is category fraud. He was the lead.
True. I agree with that.
But I would love to see it. He really had great arcs and did some wonderful emotional storytelling just through his eyes.
Yes, it was a great portrayal.
One of my favorite scenes was the scene where he's on the phone with Bridget Everett, who was phenomenal in her, one scene.
Yes, definitely. She gave a very strong emotional performance.
He goes into the conversation. He's a little agitated. He's trying to get this information quickly, and she's just chatting away, which also felt very small town to me.
Yes.
Very realistic. And then when she asks him to pray with her and starts telling him what's going on with her life, you just see that switch on his face go. And he's in priest mode now.
Yeah, that was good. I think he really embodied that role and kind of became that priestly kind of fatherly figure. And you're right, he had his sort of more wild or unhinged side, I suppose, or angry side, but like the flip of a switch, he was able to then jump in and immediately is going back to, was he a father or a pastor? I don't know the
They're
difference.
Catholic, so he would
Father?
be a priest, right? Yeah, father. I'm not Catholic.
I'm not Catholic either. But no, this was good. I think the story twists and turns were interesting, kept me engaged. I didn't get lost at any time during this movie. It was pretty funny overall. Yeah, I like the trends in this series and excited to see if they're going to keep making them.
I love Benoit Blanc. I'm honestly a bit surprised that I do, because that is a character that could so easily turn into just a joke or a caricature. And he really doesn't do that. Daniel Craig is just very funny and very earnest. And it's like, oh, this is just how this character is. He knows what he is and he runs with it.
Definitely. I'm glad that Daniel Craig didn't get typecast as sort of a James Bond character in everything that he's in. He doesn't always play himself in every movie that he's in. He really embraces the Benoit Blanc kind of persona in this. It's very entertaining.
Exactly. Another actor who I was very mad didn't get an Oscar nomination last year. He was great in Queer.
He was,
Should have
yes.
gotten the nom.
Now, I do have a critique for this movie, or maybe this series overall.
Let's
I,
hear it.
I found myself thinking about this towards the end of the movie because what I normally do, you know this, when I see certain details in a movie, even if it's just in the beginning, whenever we say a shot lingers on a certain object or a person for an extra moment, I always kind of make note of that and start to have kind of ideas as the story's unfolding. Okay, I wonder if this is significant. How is this going to affect the story? Things like that. What I came to think towards the ending of this movie was not really to worry so much about paying attention to the details throughout the story because the mystery is one way or another it's kind of going to get explained essentially by Daniel Craig at the end of the movie. So there's no real reason to try to figure out what's happening yourself. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's fair. I was just really enthused that he got up at that pulpit to explain it
Oh,
all,
you just
and
love that. Yeah.
everyone was just entranced. That was everything to me.
You are a style over substance person
I
sometimes.
am. Ideally, you have both, but
Ideally, you do have both, but yeah. I think this movie had a bit of both.
I agree. I agree. Yeah, these movies do have a really distinct style and tone, and I really enjoy it.
I do as well. What were the critics thinking of this? What score does this have? I bet it's pretty high. I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna try guess and see how close I can get. I'm gonna bet what our last movie was 87.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say I'm gonna go with 89.
You're off by a few
Oh
points.
no.
Certified fresh,
92. Hey,
92%.
I would rather have gone in too low than too high. I liked this movie. I'm glad other people appreciated it as well.
I agree. I would agree with this score as well. Definitely worth the hype. I think the setting was great, the tone was great. All of the actors, Glenn Close,
Oh, phenomenal. Phenomenal.
phenomenal job. I'm usually pretty cynical on stories with heavy religious themes, but I think this one handled that well.
They had good takes kind of throughout on any like hot button issues. I like that. I appreciated what they were doing.
Yeah, for sure. You ready to go back to 1990?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
All right, let's see if these movies fare better than the last ones.
Okay.
I guess the last ones, we had two worth the hypes and one not so much.
Yeah, we had some mix on there.
So we've got four movies from the year 1990. And the first one we watched was Darkman,
Darkman.
directed by Sam Raimi,
I like this one. Liam
starring, yeah,
Neeson.
Liam Neeson, Frances McDormand.
It was great. This movie was really felt like a comic book the entire time. It was interesting and well put together.
It did. I was honestly surprised that it wasn't based on an existing comic book.
Me too.
It was just an original idea.
It was very creative, yes. The character of Darkman himself was kind of funny. It's very just like over the top and brash, just Liam Neeson in prosthetics screaming all over the place. It was a unique portrayal, I'll give it that.
Absolutely. I loved when he was yelling at that carnival.
Me too. He was unhinged. It was interesting the sort of like artificial skin plot they were going with for him trying to like regrow his skin after being burned. I thought his prosthetics were really cool looking, his like kind of like burned face and like forearms and stuff.
Yeah, the visual effects were really impressive and the story was pretty fun. It was kind of your typical corrupt business gangsters want to get at this guy.
Yeah, it's kind of just some funny over the top portrayals, but that's what made it kind of like lighthearted and entertaining for me.
Exactly. Yeah, I was never bored, which I think the worst thing a movie can be isn't bad,
Oh,
it's
definitely.
boring.
Definitely, yep.
After watching this, I can really see why Sam Raimi was given the Spider-Man movies.
I can definitely see how that influenced Spider-Man. Yeah, there seemed to be a lot. There was a lot of similarities in there.
I agree. Even the way the camera moved and the film was edited, it did feel like panels of a comic book.
It did.
Even with the kapow sound effects and stuff like that.
Yeah, this movie had really good stunts and effects, practical effects. It's really cool. I mean, they had guys dangling from helicopters flying all over through the city. It was really cool. This was shot well.
Yeah, one of my favorite things about going back to these older movies has been seeing all the practical effects.
Definitely. It's interesting to see how much that has changed since with modern movies and the larger we rely on CGI.
Yeah, because I really do think there's something special about those films that use practical effects. And even if a practical effect doesn't look 100% realistic, I usually still think it looks better than CGI for the most part.
Same, same.
It's just more visually interesting.
How did the critics like Darkman? Does this have a cult following status like your Fight Clubs of the day?
I've never heard of this movie
I hadn't
until doing
either.
this, so maybe not.
Did this one go under the radar a little bit?
I think it probably did, or if it was very popular at the time, people maybe forgot about it
Okay.
because it is an original superhero idea that's not based on a Marvel or a DC comic that people
True.
already know about.
True. Okay. I'll give it a watch. I'd say it's worth the hype. It was fun.
Yeah, and it has a certified fresh 80% on Rotten Tomatoes.
I'd give it higher.
I feel like 80 feels right to me. I would say that this is worth the hype as well.
Agreed, agreed.
Our next movie from 1990 was The Witches with Morticia Adams herself, Angelica Houston.
This is the second time I've seen this movie. I watched it years ago. I think I may have been even in high school or early college. And I remember thinking this movie was like entertaining, but it's weird. I remember the prosthetics being scary.
Yeah, I've never seen this movie before. I never caught it when I was a kid. I think this movie would have scared me too much as a kid
Oh, as a young kid, absolutely, this would terrify me.
because the makeup and, like you said, the prosthetics, they're so grotesque, but it's done really, really
It
well.
looked really cool, yeah. And this is basically just kind of covering a convention of witches at a hotel and just everything that comes with that. So I thought all the makeup and prosthetics and all the effects they use for like the transformation of the witches and like the green smoke bellowing out, all that, all those different kind of things were very entertaining and kind of kept me engaged with the movie.
Yeah, and this is based on a Roald Dahl book, children's book,
That's right. Yeah.
which of course he did Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, James and the Giant Peach, and I can see how this kind of falls in line with that style and tone as well.
I do as well. Yeah, I can see the influences.
This little boy, he's scared of witches because his grandmother has told him all of these legends and things to watch out for from witches, and it's all true. All
Oh,
of it.
absolutely. They are trapping little girls in paintings that somehow no one is noticing because they move around in the paintings. The grandma, I'm not sure what her deal was. I thought for a while she was going to be like a good witch, but she seemed just to be like
Knowledgeable.
knowledgeable. Grandson, stay away from them.
And they end up going on vacation because the grandmother is struck with a case of diabetes. So the
Yes.
doctor says you need to go on vacation to make this better, which doesn't sound like how diabetes works, but I'm not a doctor.
Not quite, no.
And they just so happen to be at the hotel at the same time as this big witch council meeting.
Bad luck.
And of course, the little boy gets bound by these witches and they turn him into a mouse.
I forgot about the whole mouse transformation, like second half of this movie, but that it was really funny. The puppetry that they used to pull that off was very well done.
Yeah, this is a Jim Henson production
You
with
can
the
tell,
puppetry.
yeah, absolutely.
And I actually really liked these puppets because they were going more for a realistic mouse vibe.
With practical effects, if you're trying to portray like a mouse basically giving human like expressions, they did about as well as you could.
Yeah. I'm not always the biggest fan of puppets,
Sure.
especially when the puppets look kind of grotesque, like in Labyrinth. That's really not my favorite movie.
Not your speed, yeah.
So I did enjoy these Jim Henson puppets a lot more. But grotesque makeup and prosthetics, I'm all over that. That is fine.
Oh, definitely. And this movie was like funny and gross, and there's just like a lot of like splatter and maniacal laughing and just general witchiness going on.
Angelica Houston was everything.
She is the center of this movie. She is the standout for sure.
She is giving it her all.
She is a witch.
Just brilliant, perfect. I'm sure a lot of kids had a lot of feelings after watching this movie.
They're definitely terrified of Morticia Adams a lot more now.
Exactly. Because, yeah, this movie truly would be very scary for a little kid.
I'm trying to remember exactly what their like scheme was. They were going to put their like mouse potion in all the chocolate, I think.
Yeah, so
Did they
she
give
had
the
all
children?
this money to give to all the witches
Oh, yeah,
to
my
buy
car.
up all the candy shops
I got
so
a bunch
they
of
could
stacks in my car. Come go to the trunk and grab some.
Yeah, so that they could buy all the chocolate shops, put the potion in all the chocolates, and turn all the children into mice.
It's just crazy enough to work, babe.
It did work for a little
For a
while.
little while, I liked that the hotel was still full of other people and no one seemed to notice that anything weird was going on. This huge auditorium of women like barricaded the doors and you just see smoke billowing out. No notice.
They're like, that's just their yearly meeting. They do this all the
Oh
time.
yeah, they come here every year apparently.
I heard that the author of the book got mad about this movie because they changed the ending.
That's right.
I guess in the ending of the book, he stays a mouse.
Yes, never gets turned back.
But the ending here, I will say it was very random. It did feel very tacked on.
Yes.
A random good witch who I don't think we had ever met.
No, that was the so do you remember Morticia Adams had her little assistant witch who she kept like abusing throughout the movie?
Oh, that was her.
She was the one. She didn't eat the mouse soup and didn't get turned into a mouse and decided she said, "Oh, I don't have to be evil. I'm going to be a good witch." And she was just hanging out, turned him back.
I missed that. Good catch. That was probably very apparent. But it had this tacked on ending where he all of a sudden, gets turned back into a little boy. And I guess the author of the book really didn't like that. He's like, this is messing up my creative vision and the point of the story. I don't know what the point of the story is, if he stays a mouse, or if this really even had much of a point beyond just the witches are cool.
Beware crazy old ladies, they might turn you into a mouse.
Stranger danger.
He wanted this to be his Stuart Little prequel series. And this just messes with his canon completely.
Don't take candy from strangers.
Fair. Don't travel alone.
Also, why on earth did this kid keep taking his pet mice around in his pockets?
Oh, they let him way too much leeway with. He took his mice everywhere with him.
Like, it was enough that they got the hotel manager to agree that he could keep the mice in the room, in the cage. But no, he's taking them out of the cage, putting them in his pockets, running around everywhere. I'm like, those mice are going to jump out of his pockets. I don't even know how he got them again towards the end of the movie.
Neither do I, because they ran off and were doing their own thing for a while. I like that this movie had its sort of darker moments. Do you remember when the main character, I don't remember his name now, the little boy, was running around as a mouse and in the kitchen and got the tip of his tail hacked off with a cleaver as he's running through like the line of chefs preparing food?
Oh yeah, there was blood and everything. His name was Luke.
Luke, that's right.
And of course, I mean, the movie opens with his parents both dying.
Oh yeah. This kid did not have very good luck in this movie.
Yeah, that's pretty dark.
Like, he makes it out, but barely.
Justice for Angelica Houston.
100%. She needs her Oscar today.
I think she has an Oscar.
I'll take it.
Not for this, though, unfortunately.
When the sequel comes out, that'll be its time.
I'm surprised this wasn't nominated for, like, a makeup Oscar.
True. Yeah, I could have definitely seen that. I thought that was some of the better, like, kind of like grotesque, otherworldly effects you could put on people. They did a really good job.
I agree. I do think this was nominated for a makeup BAFTA.
Okay, fair enough.
But should have been there at those Oscars.
Agreed.
All right, and this has a 94% certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes.
I like that. I'd say that's well worth the hype. Absolutely, that's a good score.
That is a good score. I would say it's worth a watch. This feels a little overhyped for me at 94%.
Really? Okay.
I would still put it in like the 75 to 80% range. But I would still say certified fresh, worth a watch.
So you need to do what I did. Watch this movie once, let it marinate for a little while, let some time go by. We'll come back to this in like 6 months, watch it again. I bet you'll like it more on the second watch through. I know I definitely did.
I just wouldn't give this a higher score than Wake Up Dead Man.
Fair. All right, you got me there.
Our next movie was Postcards from the Edge. This had 2 Oscar nominations.
Okay.
One for lead actress for Meryl Streep, of course. And then another one for Best Original Song, which was that end credits song that she sang.
That was cool. That was a neat performance.
It was written by Shel Silverstein, and I love that. I loved some Shel Silverstein as a kid.
And what else has Shel Silverstein made?
He wrote like kids' books and I think some poetry books as well, but the big
Oh,
one is The Giving Tree.
I think I've read that.
I love some Giving Tree.
Fair enough. But I don't know. I like this movie. I wasn't sure what to expect at first. At first I thought it was just Meryl Streep traveling through South America, something like that, and getting into trouble. But no, this is more just of a biopic sort of, or it's based off of Carrie Fisher's book.
Yeah, so Carrie Fisher wrote a fiction book, but there's, of course, some elements in there that she has experience with. You know, the main character, Suzanne, has a famous actress mother, and she has dealt with some drug issues, and that's kind of the core of this story here. But you're right, we open the movie and it seems like Meryl Streep's getting in some trouble, and then we learn she's just filming a movie. And then she immediately goes to do some cocaine, and the director is like, absolutely not. The director was played by Gene Hackman, I believe.
I liked him in that role, yeah. Yeah, I like to see that this movie wasn't afraid to really confront like cycles of addiction and abuse. And while it's a enjoyable experience overall, and I really like Meryl Streep's character and portrayal, this has a lot of like kind of like family relationships and family abuse covered in the plot.
Yeah, I thought it was really interesting how they portrayed that cycle of addiction
Yes.
because we see that Suzanne's mom, Doris, who is played by Shirley MacLaine, who is an icon,
She was great.
she's absolutely an alcoholic.
100%. She is drinking this entire movie.
She thinks that just because she doesn't drink as much as she did when she was younger, that she's not an alcoholic.
Right.
But she's like pouring alcohol into her breakfast smoothies.
And not a little bit, like
A lot.
a third of a bottle.
Yeah. That scene where they talk about that too was really interesting because Suzanne says, when I was a kid, you gave me sleeping pills,
Right.
which could absolutely start a cycle of addiction for someone so young.
Oh, definitely, yeah. These are damaged characters. There's a lot of history kind of not immediately shown, but it's kind of spoken about or reflected on in the movie.
Yeah, and we see a lot about how Hollywood treats people too.
Yes.
We see her facing a lot of misogyny. The director and the costume person, they're like calling her fat behind her back, which is
Right.
ridiculous. Even getting that job, she had trouble doing because the studio can't find good insurance for her. They're going to have to pay more for the insurance because she was just in rehab after overdosing.
Right.
And, you know, if she can't work, that's going to cost them a lot of money. And so there's just a lot of stipulations put on this woman who's trying to get better. And she definitely thinks about relapsing a few times in the movie. And it seems to always be caused by how this industry is treating her, not just as an addict, but also as a woman.
Yeah, it's about the abuse she has to endure since she was very young.
Yeah, and a lot of this plot line, it is very dark, but what I liked about this movie is it didn't feel dour.
That's true, yes.
I never thought I was watching something so upsetting that it was draining to me.
Right. This movie isn't afraid to like confront these touchy issues and is able to kind of show multiple perspectives on things such as, being a parent and when you've suffered from abuse yourself, like how the mother was kind of trying to deal with her own experiences and then raising Meryl Streep. I thought that was interesting.
This movie, a lot of it is pretty funny. You definitely can feel a lot of Carrie Fisher's voice because Carrie Fisher was hilarious.
Oh, 100%. Yes, she's very sassy in this movie.
Yeah,
She talks back.
she does. I love that.
Now, Dennis Quaid definitely was supposed to be Harrison Ford, right?
Oh,
Down to
absolutely.
the look, the aviator glasses, everything.
He was absolutely styled like Harrison Ford. And of course, we learn he's a bit of a player.
He was so sleazy the whole movie.
I did think it was really glossed over that Meryl Streep, she thought that the two of them had had sex, and he said, "No, you were really out of it." And then later, when they're fighting, he's like, "I lied about that." It's like, if she was that out of it, then you assaulted her.
Yeah, and like at first they're trying to portray him as like the cool guy that she's hanging out with or dating now, but the more he like reveals himself, he's a creep.
Yeah, he was really leading her on, and
Yeah.
it seems like maybe he's even trying to get in close proximity with famous women
Okay.
because we hear that he had been hooking up with Annette Bening, who's really great in her like one scene. She was another actress on the movie that Suzanne is working on, and Suzanne's like trying to get some intel on this guy that she's now dating because she hears this woman has also been with him. Annette Bening essentially tells her that he is a player.
Yes, he gives the same routine to every girl he meets.
Yeah. And I guess Suzanne thinks he's gonna treat her differently, which a lot of dudes like to do to women.
She's like, I can fix him.
He was leading her on.
Big time, big time. He was hooking up with multiple girls in a day.
Yeah. Yeah, he was trash.
I thought the arc that Meryl Streep's character goes on throughout the movie was showing really her strength and endurance to a lot of the abuse she'd been subject to and kind of seemed to be on the up and up and giving over addiction and like maybe some depressive emotions by the end of the film.
Yeah, overall, I do think this was a hopeful movie. And it showed how she was putting in the work and effort to break all of these cycles.
I really think we see that in the final song, which is the song that was nominated, if
Yeah.
I recall, of her doing this little like country music kind of sounding little shindig in this setter on this bar, and I thought she killed it.
Yeah, because throughout the movie, she's pretty hesitant to sing.
Oh, that's true. Yeah,
Her mom was famous for singing and acting, which is, of course, a parallel to Debbie Reynolds with Singing in the Rain.
absolutely. The mom who was basically wanting to be the center of attention the whole time.
It twirled up,
It's world. We get it now.
but I did think it was really cool how that kept coming up throughout the movie, and then you
Yeah.
get to end it with her doing this big, hopeful song.
Meryl can sing.
Oh, absolutely.
I was impressed. Yeah, I like this movie. I feel bad if this is pretty autobiographical for Carrie Fisher because she looks like she went through it, especially during this time. But I really liked the movie and was pleasantly surprised. So I'd say worth the hype.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this too. And it has an 83% certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes, and that sounds fair.
Yeah, well deserved.
But yeah, I would say this is worth the hype as well.
Agreed. Yeah, I'd watch this again. Actually, I think I will appreciate it even more on later watch throughs since I know kind of what the story is about now.
I agree. There's a lot to this movie.
I agree. Yeah.
Our last movie from 1990 for the week was Goodfellas.
Goodfellas. I've seen this movie once or twice. This was your first watch through, right?
Yeah, I'd never seen this before. I'd always heard people say it's Martin Scorsese's masterpiece. I've only really seen later Scorsese movies, and a lot of them I don't care a ton for. Killers of the Flower Moon was just okay to me.
Same.
The Irishman was too long and boring.
It was. I wanted to like it.
And I was worried that this was going to be a lot like The Irishman because it kind of has similar themes and it has a lot of the same actors and everything.
Yeah.
And I've seen Wolf of Wall Street, and Wolf of Wall Street's great. That's a fun movie.
Yeah.
But I really went into this movie thinking I wouldn't like it very much.
I thought you weren't going to like this either. I knew this was just kind of your classic, like, gangster films. So I thought you weren't going to enjoy this at all.
I thought this movie was awesome.
You liked it, huh?
I really liked it. It was
It's a good
incredibly well directed.
Yeah.
I loved the tracking shots. I loved the use of color. It was so visually creative and interesting. I loved all the needle drops. Everything was just so well done. And of course, Joe Pesci won the Oscar for Best Supporting Actor for this movie.
Well deserved.
Very well deserved. This movie is very well paced. And I think one of the best examples is his character. Because the first time you really get to know him, Ray Liotta is saying, "Oh, you're funny." And he's like joking around with him. "Oh, what'd you say about me?" And he just keeps the bit going a little bit too long to where you're like, is this guy serious?
Yes, Joe Pesci's really good at pushing things just a little bit too far to where, like, oh, now it's uncomfortable and, like, we're freaked out. And then, like, really brings it home.
Yeah, and that really cements, oh, this guy's unhinged. And then it escalates from there until you get to the point where he is killing Spider.
Poor Spider. Never stood a
Poor
chance.
Spider. But he kills Spider for really no valid reason. But you always know from that very first scene that that is what he is capable of. But I liked how it paced out that escalation.
Right, yeah, it did that very well. Kind of shows his progression of how far he's willing to take things. And I mean, I think the key to this story is really shining the light on that these like mafia type guys use violence just to get what they want. And that's pretty much their whole thing.
Yeah, and I thought Robert De Niro was a really good contrast. Because he was more of the charismatic, like intimidating type.
Yeah.
Honestly, what Robert De Niro was in this movie is what I wanted George Clooney to be in J. Kelly.
Yeah, I like that comparison.
Because there was something mysterious about him. He felt almost mystical in a way. And that made him feel scarier and more dangerous.
Yes, he was the more collected one, I think, of our band of psychos as things progress. But you show each character in their own little way, like how they are just essentially rotted and kind of what things they use to methods they use to get what they want, whether it's violence or intimidation or dealing drugs, scamming people, things like that.
Exactly. And our main character is Ray Liotta, and he's not a good dude. He's cheating on his wife. He ends up, I would say, becoming a bit of a drug addict.
Oh, Henry Hill 100% brought everything. He got himself into all of this. He brought it on himself, yeah.
Yeah, and then you see him from when he's about 13, and honestly, that kid never stood a chance.
No, not at all. He never really had the resources necessary to kind of get out of that kind of life, it seemed.
Exactly. I also really liked when we switched perspective because the only other person we switch perspective to is his wife. And we're getting to see kind of why she stays in this relationship and in this environment. And a lot of it is she just finds him attractive. And then she starts to find this rich life very attractive.
Yes, she maybe doesn't come from such great of a background, and this life of luxury is something that not a lot of people got to experience, especially like in the 1950s or 60s, the time period that we're in, and she becomes kind of addicted to that life.
Exactly, even if it's to the detriment of her children and even her personal safety.
Neither one of them cared that they had like multiple children running around at any time.
I don't even think I registered if those kids even had names.
I'm not sure that they did, no.
They had dogs.
They did have dogs. I think they looked after the dogs closer than they did the kids. Always ends up happening.
But I appreciate a woman who will point a gun at a man who cheats on her.
She was willing to use violence as well. I thought the prison scenes were really interesting and well done. There's that classic cooking scene that always gets me really hungry. Now, this movie has so many classic and memorable scenes, and I think I was thinking about this on our last watch through. Ray Liotta is a big part of why this movie is so good because he's so good in this role. He is that character. He portrays it in such a fantastic way.
I agree. You really see all of the layers and you see how this lifestyle it really starts to bleed out onto everyone even in the peripheral
Yeah,
around
his
it.
extended family and like his brothers getting caught in the middle of things, and I agree.
Yeah, and then there's always this level of oh, they might be in danger as well because if someone wants to get back at me, well maybe they'll go after my wife and
Oh,
kids.
absolutely. Why would you have relationships when you're in that kind of life? Because you see what happens when you have family members or like loved ones in the way.
And he didn't just have one relationship, he had like three. He was really juggling these women.
These two should not have been married, first of all.
No.
But yes, I really liked the classic long shots in this movie, and I think it has a lot of portrayal of like partying and food and alcohol that makes it like I like a good food centered film or plot.
What those things do is they build a culture and they really help immerse you in that when you're watching it. And yeah, that adds so much richness
It
to a
did.
movie and to a story. So I agree with that for sure. I can see why people say this is Scorsese's masterpiece. It was fantastic.
I think I would agree with that honestly. I've enjoyed some of his older works more than some recent ones. Not to say that they're bad movies necessarily. I just found like the classic gangster portrayal, that's Goodfellas, no doubt.
Yeah, for sure. This is the quintessential gangster movie.
Man, Goodfellas, what kind of score does that movie have nowadays? I'll say it must stay pretty dang high.
Goodfellas has a certified fresh 93%.
93, well earned.
I would say
Good,
well
yeah.
earned as well. That feels like a good score.
We'll have to watch it again. I mean, that movie is worth a rewatch every few years. And even just individual scenes, I'll find clips of. Like I said, even throughout, each kind of chapter is very interesting. I'm never bored in this movie, even though it's got a pretty long run time. All the actors killed it, and I mean, you forget, oh, these are just actors. You really found I really found myself invested in the characters.
Exactly. I would definitely say this is worth the hype as well. It can be a little hard to get immersed sometimes in movies where there are a lot of well known names like a Robert De Niro, but you're right. I was never watching this movie and thinking, oh, that's Robert De Niro, that's Joe Pesci. No, they were their
Yeah,
characters.
they become their characters.
Yeah. And everything was just very well done. Phenomenal movie. I was pleasantly surprised because, like I said, I assumed I would not like this movie.
All right. When Scorsese finally loses it and decides to remake Goodfellas, who are you casting for Ray Liotta?
Oh
It's got to be Timothy
no.
Chalamet.
I was about to say it would
Come
probably be
on.
Timothy Chalamet.
He can method act as a Sicilian man. He was born for this role.
I don't think it would be good at all, but that's probably who they would go
And
for.
instead of Joe
Maybe an
Pesci,
Austin Butler.
Joe Pesci, they should do Danny DeVito.
Danny DeVito.
Perfect. All right. Ended on a high note.
They should never remake Goodfellas.
It will happen.
No.
I think Scorsese's going to stay in the game for way too long. He's going to be like 95 and just going all in on AI. Let's see how far we can go.
He's not going to do that. He doesn't even like streaming. He's not going to make AI things.
He's going to have De Niro's corpse playing like a 15-year-old.
No. De Niro can't die. He has a new baby.
Good Lord, no. Yeah, when your grandson is older than your son, you've gone too far.
I can't say I disagree with you.
But he makes some dang good movies.
He does. Hell of an actor.
And that was our week. That was a fun ride. What'd you think?
I agree. Some really, really standout movies here. I guess there was only one that I didn't really like.
I guess if you want to like just lay down, take a nap, need some background noise on, put on F1. You'll just hear cars driving by and not really much else happens, and that put me right to sleep.
What was your favorite movie of the week?
Ooh, favorite movie of the week. It's got to be Goodfellas, but
Mine too.
second, honestly, Roofman. Roofman was
Really?
entertaining. It was funny. I really like that it was based off of a true story. Kirsten Dunst really just killed it in her role, and it was funny seeing just people's take on the polite robber. Made it memorable for me.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. My favorite of the new releases was Wake Up Dead Man.
Absolutely.
Love some Benoit Blanc, loved some Josh O'Connor. It was a really great ensemble piece, and I just think those movies get better and better. But I agree, favorite overall this week, Goodfellas, masterpiece, fantastic.
Since you mentioned it, Knives Out movies are really good with the way they unravel their kind of mystery in the plot that it's fun to rewatch it one or two other times afterwards since you know the little details, like how it's going to end. You can then pick out the little details as you go along.
Yeah, they're good at dropping those breadcrumbs.
They are, they are.
All right, well, that was overall very good week of movies.
We did it.
And we'll see what we watch next week.
Bye.
Bye.